Hello everyone, myself Sabri and I welcome you to our channel Solution Bridge Network and one-stop solution for all your Power Platform tutorials.
Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to understand Power Apps offline capabilities with SharePoint source. In this video, I have taken a SharePoint site called Power Apps with a list called offline data with three columns: name, mobile, and offline ID. What we are trying to achieve is we will create an app and make the customizations accordingly so that the app can handle the data and save it to the SharePoint source even if it is offline. Here, we are going to use three new functions, and those functions are load data, save data, and clear data. Let me start creating the app and walk you through step by which you will be finally able to create the app that write backs to the source even though the app is offline. So just to elaborate that statement, so whenever your app is offline, the save data will create a temporary file inside your local device, and whenever you comes online, the load data will take the data from that temporary file and reload it into the SharePoint. So let's jump and start creating the app. So let me go to create, and I would like to create with a page design, and I will select the external source. So let's go here, select SharePoint, and select the SharePoint site which we have, which is Power Apps. So I have selected Power Apps. Upon selecting Power Apps, you will be able to see all the list, and I would like to select the list called offline data, and let me click on create app. Now we have a canvas with a gallery and a form with some additional controls to add and modify the record. As a first step, what I would like to do is go to the app, and in the onStart property of the app, I would like to create a collection. I will say clear collect, call offline data, and that needs to be from the offline data source. So this will create a temporary collection for all the records available in the offline data. Let me run the onStart property so that this gets created. So let me go select it, go to the gallery and replace the actual source with our new collection. And now we are ready to start. As you know, since we are already connected to internet, let me run the app, create a new entry. So let me click on new. I'll create a new entry now. Name, I will say test1. Mobile number is 123. And here you see an offline ID, which we need to pre-populate automatically. So we need to use the GUID function. What I'm going to do here, I'm not directly going to patch this GUID ID here. In the new, I will just go and add an option. So here I will say set where GUID is GUID function. So whenever you click new, this where GUID function gets assigned. So let me go to this data card, and in the default property of the card, I would like to paste that. In the advanced, let me unblock it, and in the display, I'll go to the default and I'll call it as where GUID. Since we do not have any GUID here, let me rerun the app, cancel the view, and let me go back and click new, and immediately after this you will see a new GUID gets auto created. So let me fill in the other information, test1 and mobile. So this GUID will help us to determine whether if the data is already in a source that needs to be updated or that needs to be newly created. Also, this will help us to find whether the record is created if the app was offline. So let me save this so that this entry gets saved to the source. And we have a collection here, and we need to make sure we refresh the collection so that the data gets visible here. Let me again trigger the onStart property. Now you see the first collection, whatever we entered comes here. So what I will do again in the plus statement and in this checkbox, I will like to recollect, clear collect, call offline data, and it is offline data source. So now our collection gets automatically updated. Let me take you back to the source, reload, and make sure to see if we have that one entry what we have created there. So now you see test 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the GUID ID. Now, as a step, what we need to do on this select section, we need to make sure we create variables. So let me say set where current item is this item, and I would like to say set where GUID is equal to this item dot GUID. Oh, this is a mistake. It's not GUID. Here we call it as offline ID. So it is offline ID. Here the default property of this offline card is used as a variable, and hence I need to make sure that variable is getting updated whenever I select that entry for this record. So let me go to the complete form, and in the form, in the item property, we need to make sure to set it as that variable what we have selected as where current record, where current item. So now let me run the app. If you select this ID, you will be able to see test 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our offline ID starts with OBDC. Let's jump in here. Let's verify. Yes, we have the same data. Now creating the offline functionality step by step. Let me go to the edit mode. First, what we would like to do is we need to make sure to collect the data whenever the app is offline. So in the new function, you have a check mark where you need to do the steps. So let me expand the window. First, we need to check if the connection is existing or not. So I will use an if condition. We have a default option connection dot connected. If it is true, then it tells the system that the app is connected to internet. If it is not, then our app is not connected is the meaning. So whenever the connection is connected, I'm not worried. First, I need to submit the form. Then I need to collect the offline data. If my connection is false, you might have remembered we created one variable which is called where current record. So let me select that where current item, and I'll go to the new function. Whenever I'm clicking new, I will make sure I tag this where current item as blank, by which we will be able to understand whether it is a new or an existing item. Let me go to the edit, and here what I will say, if is blank of where current item. If this is blank, then this will be a new entry. So what I will say, collect call offline data, that is our current source, and I will say form1 dot updates. So even though the app is offline, our collection gets updated so that your gallery will still show the information if it is a new item. In the nested if condition, we need to say if it is blank. So which means we are trying to update an existing entry. So I will say patch call offline data lookup call offline data, comma, offline ID is equal to where current item dot offline ID. Then we need to start patching the information, curly bracket. First, I would like to call as name. I will say form1 dot updates dot name followed by mobile. Similarly, form1 dot updates dot mobile, and finally the offline ID, and here the offline ID will not change, and hence we no need to worry about it. So let me close the patch statement, and now we need to make sure I close the if condition as well. So now we have an one if condition which says if connection is connected, then in the true statement we are submitting the form, and then we are collecting the offline data. If the connection is offline, then is where current item is blank. This tells us it's a new entry. So we are doing just a collect to the offline data and updating the information. If it is an existing item, we are updating the collection. So let me close the parent if condition what we have created here and do a little format. so that it will be easy for us to read. Here, now, if you see, after this connection is not connected, our app collects and updates the information into the existing collections, whatever we have. But this is not doing a local save or local load. That's what we are about to do here. So after this, add a semicolon. Now, we need to say collect. A new collection is what we are going to do, which is called call unsaved records. So this call unsaved records will help us to define whether that record was created when the app is offline or not. Here I'm not going to use everything. I will just use only offline ID, and that offline ID is nothing but form1 dot updates dot offline ID. There is a spell mistake on the updates. Let me correct it. So now we have a new collection called call unsaved records. And with this collection, we will be saving both call unsaved records and call offline data to the temporary system. Here comes our new function, which is called SaveData. So this SaveData accepts two input as its parameter. The first one is source, a table whose content needs to be saved. First, I would like to save call offline data, and the name what I would like to give, it's in a text, so I'll say local call unsaved data. So this is our primary save statement, and our secondary save statement is again save data. The source what I gonna use here is call unsaved records, and again the name of the local collection is local call unsaved data. Oh, there is a mistake here. I would like to call it as call local call offline data, and the next is call unsaved data. So now we have our complete save to backend exist. Let me just reiterate the statement. First, we will check if the connection is connected. If it is true, we submit the data, we clear collect, and we end everything here. If it is not connected, then we are checking whether if it is a new item or an existing item. If it is a new item, we are just collecting it to the collection, or if it is an existing item, we are patching it to the existing collection and updating the information. Followed by, we have one more new collect statement, which will collect the offline ID separately to tell us back that this record was saved when the app was offline. Once all these collections are made, we are creating two temporary data sources, that is local call offline data and local call unsaved data. Now, when the app comes online, we need to make sure we are saving this back again to the source. So what I would like to do again, go to the app's on start property, expand it, and here you see already we have a collection, clear collect. I would like to enter down and here. So we would load the data. So we will call the new function load data. Again, this load data takes two input parameters. One is the collection name and the next is the source name. So first I would like to create a new collection call offline data underscore temp, and this data source is nothing but the name that should be exact match of what we have saved here. So let me go back here, and in the check mark I'll go and check what is the exact local name. This is local call offline data. So let me go back, and in the onStart property I'll go and update the name. So we can close the bracket. And you see call offline data is not getting recognized. So what we can do, we can say clear collect call offline data underscore temp, and I would just need the schema of this offline data. So first we will clear collect this, and then we will load the data of this. We will clear that again. So we have the original schema for this, and with this schema we will load the offline data. Once this is loaded, again I would like to copy paste. Here I would like to add that call unsaved records. So let me call unsaved records, and again I just need to make sure I have the same name copied. Let me go to the check mark, copy the local call unsaved data. In the app on start, let me go back and fill it. So now on start of the app, this temporary collection gets created and the structure gets assigned. If there is anything that is available locally, that will be loaded into this two collections. Now we need to check if connection dot connected and end is blank of call unsaved records. So as I said, call unsaved records will help us to understand if there is any record that is created or updated when the app is offline. So if it is not blank, then which tells that we need to patch some of the data to the source which was created when the app was offline. Before we proceed, you see this call offline data is a complete collection of offline data. So I would like to create one more collection, clear collect. I will say call offline data to be saved, and I will say filter call offline data temp where offline id in called unsaved records dot offline id. So this statement will help us to understand or refilter all the offline records that we need to save it to the source. So with this collection, I will say if connection is connected and we have something on call unsaved records. So for all collection offline data needs to be stored, we can do a patch statement, patch offline data, and here we need to check whether existing entry or a new entry. So again, we will use an if statement. If all offline data offline id at offline id, if this offline id is in actual offline data, that is our source dot offline id, then this is an existing record. So here we need to do a lookup and patch the information. So let me say lookup offline data where offline id is equal to exactly the in loop offline id what we are getting from the for all records. This is a lookup, else we will say defaults because it's not available in the sense this is a new record. It's a default of call offline data. Let me close the bracket. Now we have the if condition closed. Let's start doing the patch. So in the patch, as usual, we would like to patch three things, which is name. So which is call. I will just copy the same thing of so that we will be able to replace it. So here at offline ID, we will change it to name, comma, then now it is mobile. I will paste the same thing and rename the offline ID as mobile. Finally, the actual offline ID. So offline ID is this. So let me now close the curly bracket and close the patch, close the for all, and close the if condition. Add a semicolon so that our existing collection gets created. We could see some error. Let me go and validate it. I could spell the mobile incorrectly, so let me rechange it. Now we have the complete code ready for us to use. I'm on my mobile device where I can see the app offline SharePoint on my recent apps, and I would like to open the same. Now we have the mobile device connected to the internet. Now let's make the app offline and see how it works. If you see the onStart property of the app is loading, let's wait for the collection to have loaded. Yes, I did the test in the offline one. So let me go back. So let me go and turn off my internet and see how the app functions. You can notice a no internet banner pops up. Let me close that banner, start creating the new entry. I will call it as offline 2, and in the mobile 12345, and you see there is an already an offline ID available. So I can click on save so that this information gets saved. You see this, we are getting an error while trying to retrieve the data from network. This is because we are trying to clear collect the information. Let me close this, and you see this collection is automatically having a data. So when the connection comes online after your next restart, this data should load automatically to the SharePoint site. So let me go back, start the Wi-Fi connection again. Let's wait for it to get connected. Now I will just open the app again. You see a reconnected banner at the bottom. Now, whenever the app loads, you need to make sure you see that offline 2 available as well. Let's wait for the data to get loaded. You see, this offline 2 is by default available in the app. Now, let me take you to the system where we will check if this data is available in the SharePoint. So I'm on the SharePoint screen where we have only offline 1, test 1, and test 2. Let me try to reload it and see if our offline 2 information is available here. Perfect. You see the record, whatever we created offline 2 is now available in the SharePoint post connecting back the system to online. So one thing what we need to make sure is in the onStart property of the app, you need to make sure you clear the unsaved records so that this data will be always fresh. So let me go select it and come to the end. You see your clean collecting. So finally, we will use a new function called clear data, which will clear the unsaved collection. It just gets the name. So let me scroll up, check for the unsaved data records. Let me copy it. And here I will do this and I will close this bracket. The reason why we are doing is every time whenever this unsaved data is saved to the source, we need to make sure we clear the collection. I'll just explain you here in the SharePoint. If I go here and check the version history, you see only one version got created. But if I go here in the offline one and check the version history, you might see 2, 3 versions being created because every time when the app comes online, this offline ID is available as a part of that unsaved data collection and gets updated. So if you clear it, you will not have the unwanted versions just passing the same information. By this, we come to end of this video. If you have any questions, please post it in the comment section and we will be happy to help.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe our channel, hit the like button, and press the bell icon for our new video alerts.